Can't we just acknowledge Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA? That's it. It's okay.
About how the WNBA media and these people, like, they all talk about how, you know, people need to uplift all the greats, and the reality of the situation is that these people don't do what they practice, what they preach, and the only time they ever talk about players of the past, realistically, is so that they can put down Caitlin Clark.
There's something happening in women's basketball that nobody's talking about. While Caitlin Clark continues to break records and bring millions of new fans to the sport, a hidden battle is unfolding behind the scenes. Social media conversations, media coverage, and certain league figures seem to follow a consistent pattern when it comes to Clark's achievements.
Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA. It's okay. It's okay to say that. You're not diminishing what the founding, fathers of the WNBA did. You're not. She's the Time Person of the Year.
Today, we're diving deep into a story that exposes what's really happening. After analyzing hundreds of social media posts, media coverage, and insider comments, we've uncovered 5 key points that reveal the truth about this situation.
Was it the new WNBA commissioner who suggested that the entire WNBA should have been on the cover of the Time magazine honor for Caitlin Clark, Marvin?
It was the owner of the Washington Mystics.
The WNBA media world is in complete chaos right now, and it all centers around how they're handling Caitlin Clark. You might think this is just another sports drama, but there's something much deeper happening behind the scenes. We need to talk about what's really going on with certain WNBA figures and media members who seem determined to bring down the biggest star women's basketball has seen in years.
So I don't know who this person is, but felt like if you're going to celebrate the WNBA, why not celebrate it with everybody in the WNBA or some of the bigger stars and Caitlin Clark? But if you're Time's Person of the Year, it's not the People of the Year. It was a Person of the Year. Can't we just acknowledge Caitlin Clark changed?
Let's break down what's happening. Every time Clark breaks a record or achieves something significant, there's an immediate push from certain WNBA media members to diminish it. They don't do this directly, that would be too obvious. Instead, they use what looks like respect for the game's history as a weapon against Clark.
My thing was, no, I didn't think she would come in and dominate. I thought it would take her some time to adjust to being a professional.
Know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I've said I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career.
Caitlin Clark just delivered the ultimate clapback in her recent interview, and Sheryl Swoopes is spiraling like never before. Her fragile ego has officially shattered, and now she's out here proving just how much she can't stand Caitlin's success. Calling Caitlin's historic victory undeserved isn't just a bad take, it's downright embarrassing.
I'll start with you. What's your reaction to Caitlin Clark winning Time Magazine Athlete of the Year?
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were.
Let's be real, Cheryl, this isn't something Caitlin's fans or the basketball community will let you walk away from unscathed. Caitlin poured her heart, sweat, and soul into this league to earn the title of Time Athlete of the Year. It's not just a win for her, it's a win for women's basketball.
And I've grown up a huge women's sports fan, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. Like, I grew up loving it and watching it, so it's pretty special. Like, it doesn't really feel real that I get to be here, but an amazing honor.
But no, here you are bitter and petty, trying to downplay her accomplishments. Guess what? You don't get to dismiss greatness and expect no consequences. Caitlin has built a legacy, and it's time you learn to deal with it.
That's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. It's pretty special. And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which, yeah, she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
These so-called legends, who once threw shade at Clark and tried to downplay her brilliance, are now lining up to shower her with praise. Why the sudden change of heart? Could it be genuine admiration, or is it just damage control under pressure from the league? After all, the WNBA can't risk Caitlin packing her bags, leaving America, and taking her record-breaking talents to Europe.
It takes time for people to want to be a part of it and to see it. I think it does take star power, and we're seeing how the value of that in the Caitlin Clark.
Instead of celebrating her, some folks are nitpicking her game, acting like her success is a fluke or that others are equally responsible for the league's recent buzz. It's almost laughable.
I feel like so much has happened over the course of last year, from when I started my last college season and not knowing if that would actually be my last season, whether I was deciding to come back to college or turn pro, and now sitting here like I'm done with my first professional season and so much has happened.
That's not just bad optics, it's bad math. But apparently the WNBA is too busy patting itself on the back for incremental growth to notice. The league is playing a dangerous game. If they don't adapt, they risk losing not just Clark, but the entire momentum she's created. Players like her aren't a dime a dozen, they're once-in-a-generation talents who can redefine a sport. If the WNBA doesn't figure out a way to pay her what she's worth, or at least close to it, don't be surprised if other leagues or opportunities come calling. And when that happens, the WNBA will have no one to blame but itself. Caitlin Clark, the rookie, drops a bombshell after making $10 million off the court. The basketball phenom, who's making less than the cost of a decent SUV in her first year on the court, has turned her modest paycheck into a PR goldmine. While others are sweating over their 9-to-5 grind, Caitlin is cashing six-figure checks just to show up and talk. And get this, some brands are willing to fork over more than the price of a house and fly her across the country just to have her grace their stage, while the WNBA throws her peanuts. Caitlin Clark has turned her off-the-court presence into a financial empire, stacking up $10 million in the process. Yes, that's right, the rookie everyone felt sorry for has more zeros in her bank account than some seasoned NBA veterans.
For anyone questioning the Caitlin Clark effect, we now have people wanting to watch golf because of her. We saw the kind of offer that Ice Cube made to Caitlin to play in the Big Three. That is $5 million to play 3 months.
But wait, there's more. Caitlin Clark isn't just cashing in, she's rewriting the rules of sports marketing. While the WNBA stands on the sidelines scratching its head, Caitlin's got visibility, platform, and influence, and she's using every bit of it to outmaneuver her critics and competitors. Strap in, because Caitlin Clark just changed the game, and not everyone's happy about it.
Higher than the NBA. So I was like, oh, what's she gonna get paid? Because finally, you can get a real paycheck. And then I saw it, and I was like, this can't be right, because this is what it is. In the first year, Caitlin Clark will earn $76,535.
The brilliance lies in Caitlin Clark's ability to flip the script. She saw the WNBA not as the final destination, but as a launch pad. That poultry paycheck? It's a calculated trade-off for the exposure the league provides. Millions tune in to watch her every move, and those eyeballs translate into something much more valuable than a game day check: brand power. The real money isn't in the rebounds or the three-pointers, it's in what she represents. Companies, both big and small, are lining up to associate their names with hers.
And I'm so happy for her to get the $28 million.
But wait, there's more.
Take her speaking engagements, for example. While others grind away at 9-to-5 jobs, Caitlin Clark commands $100,000 for a half-hour virtual appearance. In person, double or even triple that. She's pocketed at least $600,000 this year just for showing up and talking. That's not work, that's printing money. And why wouldn't brands pay? She's magnetic, authentic, and a walking inspiration. People don't just listen to her, they buy into her.
The reality is that, as from a marketing perspective, Caitlin Clark is worth more than almost any pro basketball player in the world.
Then there are her endorsement deals, which are in a league of their own. Nike, Wilson, State Farm, the big players in the game have all thrown their hats into the ring. Nike reportedly signed her for millions, and they didn't even need a pitch. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to convince anyone of her worth, her name does all the talking. State Farm probably broke their advertising budget just to have her appear in one of those quirky commercials. Wilson, the iconic basketball brand, practically wrote her a blank check. Each deal cements her position not just as a player, but as a global icon. The WNBA just got brutally exposed after Caitlin Clark's insane ticket sales were leaked. Turns out she generates 25% of ticket sales, merchandise, and TV ratings. Clark is basically the WNBA's walking stimulus package, bringing in millions for the league. Yet, despite all the revenue she helps generate, she's only making $76,000 a year. Let that sink in. The WNBA has a gold mine in Clark, but they're paying her like she's working the concession stand. It's a harsh reality. They might not have noticed, but Caitlin Clark doesn't just play basketball, she changes the game. Whether the league likes it or not, the fans are here for her. The numbers don't lie, and neither does the passion she brings to the court. So, WNBA, it's time to wake up, pay her, celebrate her, or watch her take her talents elsewhere. And we all know who would be losing in that scenario. Last season, Caitlin Clark didn't just play basketball, she transformed it into a national event. From sold-out arenas to skyrocketing viewership, the numbers were jaw-dropping. The Indiana Fever's home opener tickets hit $271 for the cheapest seat, more expensive than 29 out of 30 NBA teams' openers. Yes, you read that right. Caitlin Clark playing in a WNBA game generated more buzz than the NBA's biggest stars. For context, $271 could get you a decent seat at an NBA game or nosebleeds at a Caitlin Clark showcase. Talk about priorities. It's not just ticket prices. Clark reportedly added $36 million in revenue for the city of Indianapolis alone since being drafted. Let's be clear, that's not just the team, that's the city, restaurants, hotels, local businesses. They're all cashing in. Meanwhile, Clark herself gets pocket change compared to her impact. Fans are scratching their heads, wondering how the league justifies paying her the same as players who, respectfully, couldn't sell out a high school gym. Social media exploded when it was revealed that Caitlin Clark is responsible for 25% of the WNBA's total revenue. One player, 25%. The reaction was a mix of awe, outrage, and sarcasm. Comments like "Clark is the reason this league is still afloat." And how does she not have her own private jet by now started flooding in? But the WNBA's response? Crickets. Let's not forget the TV ratings. When Clark played, her games often drew more viewers than marquee NBA matchups. For example, one of her college games pulled in 3.2 million viewers, outpacing a Warriors vs. Celtics clash at 3 million. Yes, women's basketball outperformed the NBA, but instead of celebrating this monumental shift, critics and even some WNBA players found reasons to hate. The numbers don't lie, but the league sure does. The WNBA wants to act like its success is the result of collective growth, but let's be real, it's Caitlin Clark dragging the league forward, kicking and screaming. Without her, those TV ratings plummet, those ticket sales nosedive, and those merchandise profits evaporate. The league should be bending over backward to keep her happy, not sticking to antiquated pay structures that scream, "We don't actually value you." Fans aren't blind to this nonsense. Social media is flooded with calls for change. People are pointing out the absurdity of her paycheck compared to her impact. It's not just about fairness, it's about business. You don't underpay the person responsible for your survival. That's not just bad optics, it's bad math. But apparently, the WNBA is too busy patting itself on the back for incremental growth to notice. The league is playing a dangerous game. If they don't adapt, they risk losing not just Clark, but the entire momentum she's created. Players like her aren't a dime a dozen, they're once-in-a-generation talents who can redefine a sport. If the WNBA doesn't figure out a way to pay her what she's worth, or at least close to it, don't be surprised if other leagues or opportunities come calling. And when that happens, the WNBA will have no one to blame but itself. Caitlin Clark, the rookie, drops a bombshell after making $10 million off the court. The basketball phenom, who's making less than the cost of a decent SUV in her first year on the court, has turned her modest paycheck into a PR goldmine. While others are sweating over their 9-to-5 grind, Caitlin is cashing six-figure checks just to show up and talk. And get this, some brands are willing to fork over more than the price of a house and fly her across the country just to have her grace their stage, while the WNBA throws her peanuts. Caitlin Clark has turned her off-the-court presence into a financial empire, stacking up $10 million in the process. Yes, that's right, the rookie everyone felt sorry for has more zeros in her bank account than some seasoned NBA veterans. For Clark, the transition from college to the WNBA wasn't just about showcasing her skills, it was about proving that she belonged at the highest level of the game. Critics like Swoops doubted Caitlin Clark's ability to handle the physicality and pace of the professional game, but Clark didn't just meet expectations, she shattered them. Her adaptability against defenses, ability to play through contact, and knack for making clutch plays in critical moments showcased a level of maturity rarely seen in first-year players. Swoop's initial critique of Clark wasn't limited to her playing style. She also questioned Clark's ability to lead a team, suggesting that her individual success might come at the expense of team cohesion. Once again, Clark defied expectations. Her unselfish play and ability to rally her teammates became one of the Fever's greatest strengths, solidifying her role as both a star player and a team leader. Whether it was her chemistry with veterans like Kelsey Mitchell or her mentorship of younger players, Caitlin Clark proved she was more than just a scorer, she was a leader. As the season progressed and Clark's impact became undeniable, Swoops shifted her narrative, focusing on other aspects of Clark's game while avoiding direct acknowledgement of her earlier predictions. This wasn't the first time Swoops' comments had missed the mark, but the stark contrast between her words and Clark's reality only added to the drama surrounding the ongoing feud. Clark's rookie campaign wasn't just a personal triumph, it was a pivotal moment for the Indiana Fever. After years of struggling to find an identity, the team finally had a star who could carry them into a new era. Her hunger to improve, combined with her relentless work ethic, made her a natural fit for White's vision. Caitlin isn't just a great player, she's a cornerstone for the future, White emphasized, cementing her importance to the team's future success. Stephanie White's tenure as the Indiana Fever head coach came with lofty expectations. After years of underperformance, the franchise needed more than just a tactical overhaul, they needed a cultural reset. From day one, White made it clear that her focus extended beyond X's and O's. She wanted to create a winning mentality, build trust within the locker room, and establish a team-first ethos. This philosophy became even more critical in the wake of Sheryl Swoopes' pointed criticisms of the Fever's organization. Swoopes painted a picture of discord, suggesting that players were unhappy and eager to leave. Her claims included sharp critiques of the Fever's management and coaching approach, alleging that the team failed to recognize talent and foster loyalty. Caitlin's hunger to improve is unmatched, White shared. She's not just looking to score points, she's looking to make everyone around her better. White also made it a priority to integrate Clark into the team's existing structure without alienating veteran players like Kelsey Mitchell. Swoops had criticized the Fever for their handling of Mitchell, an unrestricted free agent who had just come off a stellar season. White, however, was quick to highlight Mitchell's significance to the team's success, emphasizing her role in the team's continued growth and stability. Ensuring that Mitchell's contributions were both recognized and celebrated, White's balanced approach helped to dispel any notion of favoritism and reinforce the team's unity beyond individual relationships. She also addressed broader organizational changes that were essential for the Fever's resurgence. White implemented more rigorous training sessions, introduced analytics-driven game plans, and prioritized mental conditioning to prepare players for high-pressure situations. These measures paid off as the Fever not only improved their win-loss record, but also displayed a newfound resilience in close games. Swoop's narrative of a fractured locker room couldn't have been further from the truth. Players often spoke about the familial atmosphere within the team, describing group outings, post-practice bonding sessions, and a shared determination to succeed. White's emphasis on accountability was key to this dynamic. She encouraged players to take ownership of their mistakes while also celebrating their achievements, fostering a culture of continuous improvement. As White worked to rebuild the Fever's image, she didn't shy away from addressing Swoop's remarks head-on. In a candid interview, she called out the inaccuracies in Swoop's statements, urging critics to look at the evidence rather than relying on hearsay. "Our players are proud to be part of this team," White asserted. "The work ethic, the chemistry, the hunger to win, it's all here. Anyone claiming otherwise hasn't been paying attention." Perhaps the most telling moment came when White discussed the team's future. Her vision extended far beyond a single championship. She spoke passionately about building a dynasty with Clark, Mitchell, and the rest of the Fever's core. Leading the charge, White explained, "This isn't just about winning now, it's about creating a legacy that lasts." In the face of criticism and doubt, White's unwavering belief in her team was a driving force behind their resurgence. Her ability to navigate the challenges of rebuilding a franchise while countering external negativity demonstrated her strength as a leader. By setting the record straight and focusing on what truly mattered, White not only silenced her detractors but also laid the foundation for a brighter future for the Indiana Fever. When Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA as a highly anticipated rookie, the expectations were sky-high. The Indiana Fever, in desperate need of a game-changer, had selected Clark in the draft, and everyone from fans to analysts had their eyes on her performance. But one particular voice echoed across the basketball community with criticism: Sheryl Swoopes. Swoopes, a legendary player and analyst, had been outspoken in her belief that Clark's game wouldn't translate to the professional level. She doubted that Clark's style would succeed in the WNBA and suggested that the transition would be more difficult than many anticipated. But Caitlin Clark wasn't just any rookie, she was a force of nature, an unparalleled talent who had already redefined college basketball with her incredible scoring, playmaking, and leadership at Iowa. So her ability to make plays from anywhere on the court was undeniable. When Clark made the leap to the WNBA, she quickly proved that the skeptics, including Swoops, were wrong. Clark's rookie season with the Fever was nothing short of spectacular. In her first year, Caitlin Clark averaged 19.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 8.4 assists per game, solidifying her place as one of the brightest stars in the league. Not only did she dominate offensively, but her versatility made her an invaluable asset on defense as well. Clark's immediate impact on the Fever was undeniable, and she didn't just play the game, she changed it. She took on the role of a leader, not only by putting up impressive stats, but also by elevating the performance of her teammates around her. This was a stark contrast to Swoop's early predictions. When Clark entered the league, many believed that her style of play, more individualistic and reliant on her scoring ability, wouldn't mesh well with the WNBA's team-oriented structure. Swoops, with her wealth of experience and success in the league, expressed doubts about whether Clark could adapt her high-volume, high-scoring game to the professional level, but Clark quickly silenced those concerns with her all-around game and leadership on and off the court. Caitlin Clark did more than just adapt to the professional stage, she thrived. Her rookie success was evident in her ability to contribute to every aspect of the game. She became the catalyst for the Fever's offense, setting the tone for the entire team. Her court vision and playmaking were exceptional, and her leadership on the floor helped guide the team to their first playoff appearance since 2016. While her numbers were staggering, it was her ability to make her teammates better that truly set her apart, showing that her impact went beyond individual achievement. Caitlin Clark's leadership qualities were evident from the start, and Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, quickly recognized that Clark was capable of much more than just scoring points. White's belief in Clark's potential grew as the season progressed. The coach played an active role in shaping Clark's development, focusing on refining her skills and expanding her basketball IQ. White worked with Clark to improve her efficiency on the floor, particularly in decision-making and maximizing her impact on both ends of the court. As the season unfolded, Clark's confidence and maturity grew, solidifying her undeniable impact on the Fever. Caitlin Clark was named Rookie of the Year and made the All-WNBA First Team, achievements that cemented her place as one of the league's top players. Even more impressive, however, was how Clark handled the pressure and criticism from voices like Sheryl Swoops. Rather than getting distracted by negativity, Clark let her play speak for itself. Stephanie White, who coached Clark closely throughout the season, praised her for her resilience and drive. Caitlin's not just focused on being great herself, she's focused on helping this team succeed. White said in interviews, "Her growth as a leader has been incredible, and I'm excited to see how she continues to evolve as the Fever moved into the postseason." Clark's leadership was on full display throughout the season. She wasn't just a scorer, she was a floor general, a player who could make the right decision at the right moment. Her ability to facilitate the offense and set up teammates for success made her invaluable to the team's playoff run. While Swoops may have underestimated Clark's ability to thrive in the WNBA, it was clear the rookie was more than ready for the challenge. In the end, Swoops' criticism of Clark seemed misguided. Not only did Clark's game translate seamlessly to the WNBA, but she also became the centerpiece of the Fever's future success. Her growth from college star to professional leader was a testament to her work ethic, basketball IQ, and unrelenting desire to be the best. The contrast between Swoops' early predictions and Clark's actual performance couldn't have been more pronounced. Where Swoops saw limitations, Clark saw opportunities. Where others questioned her ability to adjust, Clark proved them wrong time and time again. With each passing game, Caitlin Clark continued to silence her doubters, including Sheryl Swoops. Her journey in the WNBA became a victory, not only for herself, but also for the entire Indiana Fever franchise. It demonstrated that with the right leadership, talent, and work ethic, anything is possible. Stephanie White's sharp rebuttal serves as a powerful reminder that facts matter and leadership is grounded in truth. With Clark proving her doubters wrong and the Fever steadily improving, the future is undoubtedly bright for the team. This clash between WNBA icons highlights the power of resilience and growth. What's your take on this dynamic? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth sports content. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll unpack more of White's statements and explore how the Fever are making waves in the league this season.